Junji Ito Nails part 2. If you want to see how I did these, keep on watching. Guys, so this is part 2 of my Junji Ito set. If you haven't seen part 1 and you'd like to, I'll put a tile in the top corner now. So yeah, go ahead and watch that if you like, and then come back. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some of these other nails blocked out. So this one's based on The Woman Next Door, which is another Junji Ito comic. If you don't know who Junji Ito is, you need to go Google him. Turn the video off, Google Junji Ito, have nightmares for the rest of your life, and then come back. So yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and block this out. I'm just doing this as sort of like a silhouette. It's based on one of the images from one of the mangas. I absolutely love this one. It's so beautiful. She's scary as. I always think that if I got skinny, I'd look like this walking down the street in Japan, because I'd be like a foot taller than everybody else and really skinny with long arms and legs. And this is kind of how I dress as well. I could just look like a pile of fabric with a hat on. So yeah, I love it. This is one of my favourites off this set. So yeah, so I'm just going to block out her silhouette, then I'm going to come back in and add a couple of highlights, and then I'm going to sort of like do a wash for the background, to do some of the like buildings and things like that. So yeah, so I'm just going to let you watch for a little bit, and I'll come back when I've got some more to say. I'm just coming in with some highlight on the arms, because she's got like weird sort of like wooden stick arms or something. Just broadening the shoulders a little bit, just making sure I've got that silhouette correct. As correct as I can. I'm just sort of trying to hint to detail. I'm not actually trying to replicate the detail, because obviously, as I've said in previous videos, this is less than an inch, you know what I mean? She's got tiny little nails, you know what I mean? And it's not reasonable to expect the same level of detail. So I'm giving myself a break and I'm hinting at the detail, you know. Can't be mad at yourself for not being able to replicate an A3 image on a ½ inch canvas, you know, and it's curved, do you know what I mean? With a brush that was done with a pen, you know, the image originally would have been done with a pen or on a digital computer or whatever, and I'm having to replicate it with a brush that's nearly as big as the woman's arm, you know what I mean? So yeah, so now I'm just going to come in and put in the general shapes. This is just like a bunch of people reaching for the viewer, if you like, trying to grab them. I'm not actually sure which comic this is from. I found this image on the internet, so I have no idea. It's definitely Junji Ito, but I don't know which manga it's from. But yeah, we liked this one. We figured it'd be a nice quick filler nail and it'd have, you know, good impact and stuff. So I'm just coming in and putting in the little faces, and then I'm gonna white the faces out as the reference was, and then I'm going to add some white hands, but I'm going to try and get the perspective on the hands so that like the fingers are closer than the palms, so they're like reaching forward. I think it was relatively successful. It'd have been nice to get some more detail in, but like I said, this was a filler nail, so I didn't want to spend too much time on it. This whole set took me like 11 hours, so I wasn't going to add any more like serious detail than I need to. I just wanted to get the effect, you know, give the feeling of the mob, you know, if that makes sense. That's why I did the wash in the background, so that the hands would stand out without an outline, because I didn't really want to sit and outline fingers, because if you watch my previous video, you know that was the bane of my life, was getting the fingers right on the Tommy A nail. So I'm not down for doing it again, basically. So So yeah, so I'm just going to keep blocking this out, getting the image sort of, getting the contrast right, getting the general shapes in there, and then I'll come back in with those hands. So I'll let you watch for a little bit and I'll come back when I start doing the hands. Here we go, so I'm coming in with the hands now, so I'm just sort of laying out the shapes. I'm basically copying the perspective from the reference, so I'm trying to give that sort of feeling that they're coming closer and reaching out by making the fingers a bit wider than they should be. So the palm's smaller and the fingers are wider, and I'm spreading them as if the hands are stretched, if that makes sense. So yeah, so that's all done. And then this one is from a Junji Ito comic. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one where there's an earthquake or something, and then they find a bunch of person-shaped holes that lure them into them, and they want to get in, you know. So that's one of the like really iconic Junji Ito images. So that's what we decided to do for this. Plus, there's the added bonus that it's super fast and easy. It's like really recognisable but really simple. Like you could literally do a full set of these if you wanted Junji Ito Nails, and everybody would know what they were, and it'd take you about an hour, if that, maybe less. You know what I mean? To add the art, it's just super easy. I loved it. We found some images on the internet of Junji Ito, like this was like shadowed hands going up some steps. I'm not sure which manga it's from, but yeah, we liked it, and again we wanted a quick filler nail to sort of speed the setup a little. And they're not necessarily recognisable on their own, but within the set they don't look out of place, if that makes sense. And I just sort of like tried to make it ombre out a bit at the bottom. So I think I do 2 hands, and then I have to do some tiny ones filling in around. So it's got quite a graphic way of drawing hands, which I really like. Like they're quite cartoonish in a weird way, but they look right within the context, if that makes sense. Like if somebody drew a hand like this as a realistic representation of a hand, you'd be like, bruh. But within the sort of graphic context of the manga, it looks really good. Like they really stand out, like they're really memorable, if that makes sense. I don't know how to describe it. So I tried to replicate the shape as best as I could, because that's what I liked about them. Very stylised. So now when you're doing acrylic paint, if you get any at the edge of your nail and then you try and encapsulate it in gel polish, it is going to peel. So what I like to do is go around, like this is through experience, I've had a few peels, so you can trust me on this. I like to go around the edges of every nail with my file. That includes the cuticle, because it will peel up from the cuticle as well. It's not just the edge, you know, it's not just the free edge. So I'll go around anywhere where the paint is actually touching the end of the gel polish. I go around with a file and just take a tiny little, like 1/25 of a millimetre of it off, just so that there's a bit where gel polish can touch gel polish, because the white under these nails is all gel polish. Same if you're not doing it on gel polish, if you're doing it directly onto acrylic, you just need to make sure that your gel polish can touch acrylic all the way around, because I'm assuming it's because the paint is water soluble. You know, as liquid gets onto the paint, it dissolves the paint and leaves a little air pocket, and then that just lets water in and it just peels the whole bloody thing off. It's a nightmare. So yeah, so I always double top coat as well. So I'm going to do this top coat. Obviously I've made sure this is all fully dry. I'm top coating this in. I'll cure it for 30 seconds, and then I'll come back and top coat again and cure it on the low heat setting for 99 seconds, because it gets that shine to be ping. I love it. It's my favourite technique that I've like sort of learnt this year, is that if you do your top coat on the low heat mode, it's just so shiny. I love it. It's so good. Like this is a nice top coat anyway, don't get me wrong, but it's extra when you do it for 99 seconds. I love it. So yeah, if you've got a lamp that does low heat mode, definitely do that. So I've gone on to the other hand now. Obviously I've sealed that other hand in, because I was like, if you spill tea or something on your hand, we're going to have a falling out. So yeah, so sealed that in. All these nails have been buffed before I started painting. That's what that tiny little like missing patches in the middle. I went a bit to town with this buffer, but it's fine, it's going to get covered up anyway. So this is going to be the fashion model, which is my favourite. I love this comic, it's my favourite one. It's only a tiny little like thing, but I absolutely adore it. She's so scary. Like I literally had a nightmare the night that I watched it, that I did these. So bad. Like I woke up in a sweat just because of her image, like she's haunting. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, she's basically some like editorial model that the main character finds really creepy, and it turns out she's some sort of like Wendigo man-eating beast. I love it. Spoiler alert, obviously. But yeah, it's so good. So yeah, I tried really hard to get her exactly right. This one is the one with all the cross hatching, like, because that's how he drew her. So I was really concentrating on getting that effect for the shading, and there's loads of like little pocks on her face and stuff, so I'm just trying to get all those in, and trying to replicate her like pure disgusting horror. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So it's all just line work. I didn't do too much blocking back in with the white because I just got her right first time, more or less. Like there's a couple of little bits that I took out because I didn't quite like the shape that I'd made her brows, and well, brow bone, if that makes sense, because she looked a bit too sympathetic when I did it first time. So yeah, so I'm sort of blocking back in just there, but other than that, I've got it pretty much straight. It's almost like a bit of a pointillist kind of technique. Just doing like little tiny dots, but obviously with a brush you can't really do dots with mine with dash, but yeah, I loved doing her. She was my favourite nail of this whole set. I absolutely adore her. I did do a spiral nail and some other fillers as well, but unfortunately my camera cut out, so this is the last nail that I have footage for. But yeah, because this took so long, my battery died on my phone basically, so. But I was like, it's like, I started at 10 o'clock in the morning and my camera cut out at about 9 PM. I'm like, do you know what? I'm not waiting for this camera to charge. Let's just get them finished. I'll take some nice pictures. It'll be all right. I got the best one, so that's fine. But yeah, she's absolutely horrifying. I love her so much. She's like, she's goals for me. I want to be this. When I'm an old lady, I hope kids are as scared of me as I am of this woman. I want all the kids on the block to make up rumours about me and being a man-eating Wendigo. It'd be funny as. I love it. Yeah, she's my favourite. But yeah, that's it basically. That's all I've got. So, but yeah, if you'd liked the video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe. I've got 6 weeks worth of content all queued up now, and my techniques get better as I go on. Like, this is ages ago that I did these. So if you'd like to see any of that, feel free to subscribe to me and pop me a like down below. Thank you very much. Bye bye.